we're going to go over that second limb. You've already seen the video on the first limb, I hope, and if you didn't, please go back and review that one. That is going to be the ethical restraints, but now we're on to the niyamas, the moral observances. So for these, unlike the yamas, which were all about how you would treat others, how you would want them to treat you, the niyamas are more about how you hold yourself, how you discipline yourself, whether someone's around or not. The first one is purity, cleanliness, body and mind. The second one is gratitude, an overwhelming kind of gratitude. The third one is penance. The fourth is a introspective or self-studying practice. And the fifth is a surrender to the cosmic divine. Whatever you name it, whatever you call it, whatever you picture it as, I don't care. But it's to release and to surrender all the troubles to unseen one. Saucha. Saucha is the first one. And Saucha means purity, cleanliness. Now, the easiest way to make these approachable, obviously, for the household yogi is to make them relative before you get on the mat, to make them meaningful before you step onto your yoga mat to start your practice. So don't step on your mat dirty. Don't step on with dirty feet. Don't be stinky. Be cleansed. Clean hands. Clean face so that the sweat doesn't burn into your eyes. But that's not exactly the only cleanliness that was being referenced. Saucha is also a cleanliness of the mind, a purity of the mind. So just like you wouldn't step on your mat with dirty feet, you're not stepping on that feet with a dirty mind. If you had a problem from that day, you let it go. One way that I would always say this when teaching in a yoga building or a yoga shala, I would tell the students, leave your problems with your sandals outside the door. Okay, so for your own practice, you should have a similar ritual where you take your sandals off, you take everything off, or everything, that doesn't have to do with the practice. You walk onto your mat, and anything that might have been bothering you was left with your belongings. Your purse, your phone's off, everything's shut down, and your mind can enter into that calm meditative state. So this leads us to the second one, and it leads us pretty perfectly to the second niyama, which is Santosha. Santosha. This is a big boy. This is a really, really big one. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. This is that gratitude. Not the basic everyday definition of gratitude that you could see in the dictionary. Not the one that we would like to convince ourselves of. That's very simple and very surface. But we want to go much, much deeper with Santosha. We want to be grateful for every leaf on the tree, every root under the ground that we can't see, every blade of grass, every drop of sweat, drop of blood, every millimeter of nerve endings within you. Just grateful for the miraculous form that you were born into. Grateful for your ability to step onto the mat, to begin your practice. Grateful for our own community to connect and to come together. Grateful for that seeking of oneness. Grateful for that one. Grateful for all of the creation. You see, you could go on and on and on. There's no ending to Santosha. It is meant to overwhelm you. It's meant to fill your day so that there isn't a thought of doubt or fear or woe or trouble, but instead it's all awe and thanks. So that's Santosha. The third one is Tapas. And Tapas actually translates more similarly to the fire. And the reason that I name it the penance is because we've all had fire that we've had to go through in our lives. You've had past struggles, you've had past sufferings that you may have had to go through. And because you didn't sit down and wallow, you got up, you continued forward, and you became stronger because of those moments of difficulty, so long as you pull a lesson out of it. So when it comes to tapas, that's what we look at those fiery moments as. We see them as our penance. We see them as a moment for learning, for growth, an opportunity for that struggle to make us stronger. So that's tapas. And once I introduce the concept of tapas to you in such a way, you might not think so badly about suffering or struggling. In fact, you might hope for more. And that's a huge part of the ritual of yoga, the ritual practice of yoga that happens every time we set on the mat, is we start a fire. We want to struggle. We want to suffer, even just a little bit. And then the peaceful moments are just that much more peaceful. And that brings us to the fourth niyama, which is that introspection, that self-study, svadhyaya, another important part of the ritual or the kriya of yoga. And the svadhyaya isn't just, it's not just a normal introspection. It's similar to gratitude in that way with Santosha. It's not your everyday introspection. It's a really, down in the mud kind of studying of yourself, studying of your mind, of where we got the patterns we have and why we think the ways we think, and all of these other things that we've come to know and come to understand as normal in our lives. We can question them. We can still question them. It's a beautiful component of philosophy, and specifically Socrates' the Socratic. If you've ever heard of his method of philosophy called the Socratic method, it's just question after question after question after question, and it becomes a very personal practice where you're no longer questioning the outside world, but you start to ask these questions within, where the perception was gained, where the emotions, where the relationships are made. All of these different things are reflected upon, and they can create just incredible ripples in our path of self-awakening and self-realization. So that is Svadhyaya. Last one, here we go. Isvara Pranidhana. The best way for me to make this a universal topic is to explain to you what Isvara stands for. Okay, Ish, you hear me pronounce it such a way because Ish, that one small syllable, that sound, it means to long. It means to long for. Ish. Eesh. So we're going to long for something as a collective. Throughout the ages, we haven't been longing for gold. We haven't been longing for more possessions, more worldly possessions. We've been longing to understand the purpose of life, to understand the source of creation, the expansiveness of the cosmos. These are the higher-minded topics that we're looking to grasp, and that's the Ish. We are longing for that understanding. Isvara creates a oneness to it, a bound concept, where now we can actually say that there is one thing out there, one thing beyond our understanding, beyond our comprehension, beyond our mortal perception. And that is the thing that we're actually all longing to get to. When you put it in that way, you can see how that one thing, being outside of it all, it allows for us to understand that our perception of it all was wrong. So this is a very convoluted one, but I wanted to get through that explanation of Isvara, that one that we long to return to. Okay, and Isvara Pranidhana is to surrender to the one we long to return to. We hold on to so much in this life. We hold on to our memories. We hold on to our perceptions, those things that have wronged us. We even hold on to dreams. So there's a lot to let go. And that Isvara Pranidhana is that overriding topic of let go to that unseen but still very felt energy. Isvara Pranidhana. I think that was a good overview and a necessary overview before you even get onto your mat. The yamas and the niyamas, the ethics and the morals behind the practice, behind the yogi. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you in the practice. Peace and namaste.